what a run it was for Great Britain's Jack Draper, whose run at the US Open has come to an end in the semi-finals yesterday. The British tennis star lost to Italy's Jannik Sinner, the world number one, in his first Grand Slam last four appearance after being sick on court 4 times. Both men had to receive treatment as well from trainers during a hot and humid match. And in comments afterwards, Draper said his anxiety played a role in him feeling unwell on the court.
I generally feel pretty relaxed and stuff. I definitely felt a little bit more excited today, a few more nerves around. And, I'm definitely someone who's, I think quite an anxious human being. So I think, when you add all that together, sometimes I do feel a bit nausea on court, and I do feel a little bit sick when it gets tough. So, I didn't have any problems before the match, but it obviously just built up.
Well, joining us for more reaction then for Jack Draper's exit, it's former British tennis player Barry Cowan. How you doing, Barry?
Hi, Barry. Yeah, very good morning. Yeah, it was Jack fought, but unfortunately, just wasn't able to be able to push Sinner a little bit more. But what a run he's had.
Oh, absolutely incredible. It was a straight sets defeat in the end for him. Bear in mind, he hadn't dropped a set prior to that match yesterday. We spoke yesterday on the breakfast show, and you kind of were tempering expectations because you had sort of alluded to the fact that he hadn't really played many top sort of seeds getting into that semi-final draw. But nonetheless, what a run to be proud of.
Yeah, and actually, I thought the first set was really encouraging, and I thought the second set showed everything of why Jack is going massively in the right direction, because I've seen plenty of players who would have just thrown in the towel in that second set and thought, it's getting the better of me. And maybe, after a close first set, then the second and third might have been comfortable, but he stuck in it. I mean, the second set, I don't know if you guys watched it, but the drama at one stage, the second set was unbelievable because Jack was feeling ill. And then Sinner fell over and hurt his wrist. So both having the treatment at exactly the same time. And you were sort of left wondering what could happen. But I mean, I guess that's what 5-set tennis is all about. You can have those highs and then you can have those lows. But obviously, Jack, we talked about it yesterday, Natalie. He is so humble and so honest. And what he said after his match is exactly what happened. And exactly where he is at his career, 22, but he's so young. He's only played just over 100 matches on the ATP Tour. So in many ways, the Grand Slam semi-final here has kind of come maybe a little bit earlier than what he would have thought. So this is just a stepping stone.
Yeah, and when I heard the comments just now of how he felt and anxious. Now, look. I could tell loads of footballers, and some you wouldn't realise, or you'd think they were as cool as cucumber, go on and they're really nervous. Me included. I can remember that feeling of being really anxious and nervous.
Well, especially when it's your first semi-final of the Grand Slam.
My first biggest game playing for Gillingham was against Spurs at Priestfield for Gillingham. Okay, playing Spurs, and they Hoddle, our dealers, and all these great players, Archibald, Garth Crooks up front. And I remember thinking how nervous I felt. Once you get used to that and that experience, hopefully, he's a young man, he's 22 years old. So, look, the first set yesterday for me typified where he was, where he made a number of mistakes in the opening set, which he could have won as well, by the way, Barry.
Yeah. But even if he had won that, obviously it's 3 sets. And what you were saying, Kaz, I'm sure when you were anxious, you were shattered after 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I had a couple of people saying to me, but he needs to be fit enough. He needs to be fitter. It's like you could.
He's dehydrated himself. Basically.
It was the occasion.
Yeah.
If you'd put that match at the National Tennis Centre in Roehampton, he probably could have played for 6 hours, but Arthur Ashe Stadium, Grand Slam semi-final. So, Sinner is the world number one. He's won Grand Slams. He's played bigger matches. So he had that advantage. And I thought Sinner was, they sort of built it up. Obviously, they get on very well. But in the interview the day before that they did, Sinner said, it's going to be a tough match, but semi-final is different.
Yeah.
I've been there before. And then the top players know. But I think Jack can be very proud of what he did.
Absolutely. All the positives and not the negative. And, it's an experience that he'll take a lot from, that's for sure.
Yeah, very much so. And Barry, just quickly then on his future, I mean, what next? What can we expect from him? Should we be, I mentioned tempering it, should we be doing that and not try and put pressure on him going into the end of this season, but also going into next year as well with the Grand Slams to come?
Well, I would always throw that back and say, what will he expect of himself? Instead of sort of ask, well, what do we think he'll do? Jack won't be content with just say, okay, that's it. He's top 20 now. He will be eyeing, a very important end of the year where you've got the tournaments in Asia. The conditions are quite quick. You can see by his game, he likes that. Then he's got the indoor season. He should be sort of having one eye potentially. Can he get close to the top 10? But it will be very hard because now he's been hunted. He won't be sort of one that in the past has maybe gone under the radar, less pressure. Now there'll be a little bit more expectation on himself. So I think as long as he continues to work hard, he's got a great team around him, great support. And we talked about it yesterday, Natalie. He has shifted his game from being someone who was a counter-attacker into someone who's looking to be a lot more proactive. And yesterday he didn't quite really trust himself in those bigger moments. At 5-4 in that first set, he had a bit of a half opportunity. I don't think Sinner was at his best. And maybe 6 months further down the line, as Cass said, he takes that first set. And if he takes that first set, then he's the front runner. And the dynamics, the mental dynamics and physicality can change so much when you're in that situation. I mean, the best players don't often lose Grand Slam matches when they win the first set. I mean, I think Djokovic in his career has only ever lost 6 matches in about 300 when he's won his first set. So, you can never hide away from the truth that the first set so often is so crucial in semi-finals or finals.
Massive learning experience for Jack Draper, certainly. Barry, it's been great chatting to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry.
Have a great weekend. Up the Reds, Cass.
Oi, we're not having that. Well, unless you're talking about Brentford, though, because we're the Reds too.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.